All right.
I didn't make it true, playing by the rules. I come apart, babe, but never cool. I didn't make it true, playing by the rules. I come apart, babe, but never cool.
Man, we've been waiting a long time for this, baby. Red Zone in the lab. Commanders. It's time. Let's get it, homie. All right, welcome back to another episode of Red Zone in the Lab. This is RITL Radio. It's RITL, also pronounced Riddle. I'm Deuce, DEUCE. Spaces and YouTube merged together for our radio spaces. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. We got Freddie Fingers out there on YouTube, so he's in Cali 4 a.m. I appreciate you for chopping up, getting up with us at 4 a.m. Freddie, let me know if you can hear me okay. CJ, I don't know if you can just jump over there and then jump back to make sure I'm all clear. I think we're good now. And I think with the music stuff, Robo, I think before, because what I tried to do earlier is I opened through the PC and I had like delays, right? So I closed it down and I opened up through the iPhone. And then I opened on the Surface and then closed the iPhone. So maybe before we start YouTube and I'm on the iPhone, we can play music that way before we go live, because I can't play that music while we live on YouTube. I think we could try to go that way. So today, the hard truth. The hard truth.
You good on YouTube, Sean?
What'd you say, CJ?
You good on YouTube? All
right. The hard truth. Terry McLaurin. There are a few ways that this can play out, right? And I want to hear everyone's percentages on how this plays out. We all know, we've all talked about it numerous times about his contract, which way it can go. We hearing reports constantly. And if you really listen to a lot of the reports that we're hearing from different people, nothing really changes, right? It's kind of the same thing worded differently. It's still like Terry has a number that's higher than what the Commanders are willing to pay. There are gaps. You've heard that he wanted more than DK. Then you heard he wants some of what DK had, but doesn't necessarily have to be the AAV. We heard recently about the first offer that came out could have been like top 3 or top 4 paid wide receiver type money and percentages of cap and all different types of stuff. So it's a lot. But one thing that we do know is for the most part, Adam Peters and camp is very tight-lipped on a lot of information, right? I think we all can agree with that. And I think Terry and his agent, in a sense, is kind of the same way, because this can be much uglier than what it is. Like, I don't really think it's ugly, right? I don't think it's bad, but it can be. It could have been. And it can be, right? So where we're at now, I want to get some percentages, because these are some of the things that can happen, right? One of the things is he can get extended, right? And they can agree to a number. Whatever that number is, I'm sure it's going to be a number that neither one of them wanted when this first started, because that's usually how negotiations work, right? You all come with numbers that's going to benefit you. not necessarily the person that's across the table. And that's why how negotiations start, and you work back and forth to try to figure out something that you both can agree to. So what usually happen in these negotiations is everyone walks in with the number, walks out with a different number, right? You're happy about the negotiation, you're also upset, right? So like everyone, that's a good negotiation, right? When everyone um is comes out of the meeting with what they wanted and what they didn't want, right? Those are good negotiations. So agreeing on a number, or he plays on his current contract, and or they trade and move him. The trade piece has been doubled down from the team. It's been doubled down from national media that they do not want to trade him, right? They want him here, especially where we are now in this process, right? So even though he requested a trade, it still doesn't feel like he requested a trade, because I think we want to talk about also how like we feel his representation has represented him through this process. And he's been getting a lot of flack from national media, and it's also coming out that a lot of the agents kind of looking at him sideways in the sense of how he's handling these negotiations. So everyone that has a mic, you can just jump in and start off. Out of those three different situations, how do you all look at the percentages out of 100 of those three scenarios?
Good morning, Deuce. Good morning, everybody. Uh, I look at it more like, let me say this, because I kind of broke it down in percentages myself as far as like playing week one, trade, and holding out the minimum amount of games and stuff like that, right? And as far as a trade, I'm leaning more to like 12 to 15% now. And at first, it was like 5%, 0 to 5% that Terry would get traded. But yesterday we saw a lot of movement yesterday, you know what I mean, going on in this NFL. So my percentages went up a little bit. I understand like that, but hey, where's Waldo? Like that DQ comment yesterday say he tired of, hearing about it and stuff like that. So my question is it becoming a distraction? When it comes to like, and like I said, I broke it down like week one. When it comes to week one, I think there's a high percentage he don't play week one. I think it's about a 25% chance that he don't play week one.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's gonna stand pat. He's gonna hold strong and things of that nature. Make this team really feel like they need him and stuff like that. And what was the third one, Deuce, that you had mentioned out there? Like as far as the three breakdowns,
Yeah.
because I feel like, man, like just that week one and the trade, those are my two highest percentages right now. I didn't do it out of 100, but I'm just saying like 25%, bro, 12%, you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, so just like the contract, right? Do you think that like
Oh
when
yeah.
so you
So I
think it's
think
like
I think I think it's
trade
more like I
extension?
don't think he's playing on. I don't think he's playing on what he's faced at right now. If anything, if he does play week one, I think they came to a fully guaranteed contract for this year. And that's probably about, if we're gonna go up to 100%, I'm gonna say that's probably about 30%. And the rest goes to them just giving them a contract. Both sides coming together, Terry giving a little bit, the commanders having to give a little bit to go up to a number and stuff like that. So that's what it remaining, and my percentages remain. But I like the chances of a fully guaranteed contract going into week one of what the base is right now.
Yeah. it- I think that like, he's gonna try to milk this as much as he can. But I think at least 75%, is he's gonna take that contract. And then it's a good 25% that, he might not play week one, but I'm more confident that they're gonna get the deal done before week one. I just think that all of this is just a negotiation tactic. Um, and that, they both parties wants to be on this team. Terry want to be on this team, and the front office want him here. You know, I think we all heard that. In these reports and multiple reports. Just based on how the reporters has been, leaking the news and things like that. So, I think things will be fine. I just think that Terry is a hot commodity in Washington, and the fans is just they just want the deal done.
Yeah, like I agree with Smoke. I agree with you. Oh, I forgot it's not about agreeing on that. So like I think I wonder. So the emotional part of it, right? Like the off field stuff, even the on field stuff, a lot of stuff that Terry has dealt with, and he's continued to produce. He's continued not to be a diva, et cetera, et cetera. That emotional part. Before we move forward, let me before that's like another topic. I'm gonna get Riri and Trail. We were just doing the percentages. If y'all want to jump in, of him being extended, playing on his contract, or being traded, and then I'll go to the next part. I'm gonna give y'all opportunity since y'all on the floor. And Robo, Riri drop. So Robo, Trail.
Oh, morning, morning.
What's up, man?
Um, so percentage. I mean, I don't really have a definitive, but like it's very low. I have a low feeling of him staying. To be honest, like yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite with Terry. Like for some reason, I just feel like it's over.
Which you said it's over? What? Which part is over? I'm sorry, I missed it.
With him, I think he wants to be here, but I also feel like at this point he feels slighted, and
Okay.
and like I don't know, man. Like a part of me feel like he's gone.
Hmm. I got you. Um, and everyone that's new up to this, like this is a new um way we were kind of doing. You're also on YouTube right now, so if you grab a mic to come and talk, you're consenting to being on YouTube. Um, and there's a few rules up at the top in the jumbotron. You can just take a look at those. Um, Before we come back to Smoke, Robo, Riri, y'all want to add anything to that part, and then we'll go back to Smoke.
Did you say me? Because I was changing networks.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yep. Yep.
I'll probably change networks like real fast. I think for me, I get what Troll's saying. Um, but I think his heart is still in it. He does want to be here. So to me, it's like 50-50. Because if it's true and he just doesn't want to be here, then he probably does sit out one, and he probably won't play, up to his original caliber. So, but then also too, he's trying to make a point that he's 30 or whatnot, and that he can play with the best of them. So I don't know. Like right now, I was pretty confident like a week ago that he was going to be here, and now not so much. But then why is he like at the prize? Why is he shaking hands? That part I don't understand, right? Because if that were the case, just get it done already, right?
Hmm.
So I'm like I'm conflicted right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of feeling like Trey. That's why it's like the hard truth about it. But yeah, go ahead, Robo.
Um, I think. Well, first, I think I'm not really worried about it. Um, Terry gave us the whole rundown, literally in front of a camera the week before. Um, he said that he was going to exercise every single option that he can to stay on the team, and
Mm.
if he has to request a trade, he will do so. So I'm sitting back, calm, and paying attention to what Terry told me. He didn't lie, and I don't think he wants out of his team. Obviously, it's standing on business. That's simply just what he's doing, and I think he's going to be out there in week 1. I think the deal gets done in September because Adam Peters is notorious for getting his deals done in September. I mean, yeah, I'm not worried one bit. I think this is just, I don't want to call them theatrics, but you know, negotiations are what they are. So they take a long time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Smoke.
Now you can go ahead because I was gonna bring up something with like data analytics and stuff like that, but you can go ahead because I mean I don't want to steal the thunder, so go ahead, you can go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. We can kind of.
Nah, so basically like I don't think like we're a data driven team right now, man. This is something new for us. This is something new for these players on this team, especially if they've been here and things like that. So I like it goes back to what we kind of said early on, man, that I believe AP has a number. I believe AP has to set his own standard as well. We know what Terry means to this team on and off the field. You know what I mean? But it come that point where I'm looking at Terry like, oh, the fan of me is like, just go out there and defy the odds. Like, if the market says this, go out there and just go out there and murder those numbers. Excuse me for the algorithm, but just go out there and do what you got to do. But the analytics aren't in his favor, bro. And I think that's where we kind of struggle at when we even coming up with a percentage, even coming up with a contract breakdown and stuff like that. We don't understand, how AP and Brass are really moving when it comes down to the data. You know what I mean? For a guy that's going into his age 30 season, like he'll be like 30 in what week 2, week 3 of the season and things of that nature. And so I just wanted to bring a little light on that, man, that we're data driven right now. And it's something that all of us fans have to get used to. It's no longer an eye test in this organization for real. You know what I mean? It's hey man, listen, this is what the numbers dictate and stuff like that. And me, I'm an old school football guy. I love the eye test, but at the same time, this is something new that I'm buying into. So yeah, that's where I want to land it at right there, dude.
Go ahead, Robo. Or is that an old hand?
I'm sorry, that's what we're in.
Okay. So like I see some others came up. Y'all want to do the percentage, Kicker and Caleb TL.
And dudes, let me know if you need audio from music.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Caleb.
Good morning, everybody. I hope y'all doing good. Hope y'all doing good this morning. I can't really put a percentage on it, dudes. I think my opinion, I would just say I think this is up for it's Terry's decision if he wants to stay or not, because Adam Peters ain't budging off the number, and I respect that, but it's up to Terry at the end of the day. If he's dead set on what he wants, and if he thinks he's going to get that, then I'm with Smoke too. Then just defy the odds and bet on yourself. He's always been the type of player where he bets on himself and he puts in the work regardless. He's been that way since high school, paying attention to his career. But in my opinion, it's up to Terry to accept it. If Terry don't want to accept it, then I respect that too. Coming from him, he got a standard set for himself, and this is what he wants to earn. So, but we not budging off a certain number. Terry's not budging. Somebody's gonna have to come down or go up. And I don't know if we're gonna, and I'm pretty sure we're not gonna go up in the price. We're not gonna go up in the price. So, I mean, it is.
I think he's kind of breaking up, and I think I don't know if I could be wrong, but I think they'll go up, but I don't think they're going to go to where he is, right? And he probably didn't want to go as low as where they were. So you want to look for a median at some point. I got you, Trey. I'm gonna come back. TL, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Good morning. How you doing, man?
Not bad. How are you, my friend?
Good.
So I mean, I think I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't figure something out before the season. I feel like they've really tried to. Both sides came out far apart. One side started toward top four money. One side started probably 27, 28 per year. And I mean, at this point, they both know that they're too late in the process. That if Terry gets traded, he's got to learn a new playbook. I mean, he'll have his maybe he might not even get that money that he wants. I don't think anybody is out there is going to willing to pay him that much. And if they are, they're not a good team. And I think that they both need each other. I mean, they need him if they're going to be where they want to be at the end of the year. And he finally has a quarterback that's going to get him the ball. That's got him 13 red zone touchdowns. So I mean, at this point, I'd be pretty shocked if they couldn't come closer. Maybe it's not going to be in the 30s. Maybe it comes out to 30 per year with guarantees. I think that's the only way they get it done. Maybe they give them like 50, 60 guaranteed and wrap this thing up and get out of here. But yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if they can't get something done. I mean, they haven't really put out there that they want to trade him. I mean, who are you going to go out there and get to replace him at this point? You're not going to go out there and leave Debo, especially with the way the wide receiver room's looking, by himself essentially. And Noah Brown's coming off that injury. Lanes look good, but I mean, I'd just be pretty shocked. That's my take on it.
Let's go back to Trail, then we're gonna go to Earn. But Trail, I also want you to add. I gotta ask some co-hosts. I do want you to add, like the importance of, or is there any importance as far as analytics from what Smoke was saying? Excuse me, as Smoke was saying, because you're my tech science guy. With them in the contract, excuse me, with that new AI company they just had. Like, do you think that correlates with the analytics and where they're going as a team? And then you can go back to the Terry thing.
I do. Very strongly, actually. I don't think it's ironic that, since the start of this contract talk, we've been seeing a lot of advanced analytics come out in regards to, both sides, whether you're defending or defending him or AB. With that said, though, I think just from my perspective, just from my own analysis of those analytics, I don't think the numbers favor Terry very strongly, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of what we fall in love with Terry from as a fan is, is definitely the off the field and, the hard work, the things that you can't measure in a stat. The hard work, the full 150% effort every time, like, weathering the storm, being all of that. And I appreciate you bringing up the analytics part because, all of that kind of, was going back into my main point about the comment about, betting on himself. And I feel like I can't speak for Terry, obviously, but if I'm putting myself in his shoes, like, Terry's whole career, honestly, in my opinion, is him, being in Washington is just betting on himself because of all the odds and everything that he faced and, everything that was going on around him. So if I'm him, I'm not trying to bet on myself this time around. Like I feel like I've accomplished everything that I've checked every single box that I should have for you as an organization to not only respect me on what I do on the field, but what I do, just for this organization as a whole. So the standing on business part of I 125% support everything he's doing. But on the flip side of a fan, I also 125% support everything AP is doing because he's setting a precedent for how these organization is, going to ultimately team build and construct these rosters, both financially and talent-wise. So it's it's a weird situation as a fan. And I'm pretty sure ours is a very weird situation as a star receiver for this team. But I mean, going back to your initial question, the analytics and with this new regime and how they utilize it, I think I completely understand what's going on here.
And that's the hard truth about where we are right now is trying to understand like this new regime and what we endear and like what the reason we were able to hold on for so long this last decade, right? Like Terry is that one consistent that kept us watching and going and being excited in the off season about these games. So that is colliding with a competent GM and someone that's going to stand firm on the direction that has approval from ownership, that's not going to jump in and because if this is the old regime, he's probably signed to like top four money, right? Like that's the hard truth. It's us realizing that, man, this is really a new era. And I don't think like we say it often these last year or so, but now it's like is us facing reality that this is a new era and it's going to be some things that's happening in this new era that we're not going to like, right? So
Hey, and dudes, would that be? This is what we wanted.
yeah,
So
yep,
at this point, we can't be mad because this is what we
mm-hmm,
wanted.
yep, yep. Go ahead, Aaron. Aaron, you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, 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 yep.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what was going on with my mic. I kind of agree with CJ. CJ said, around 75%. I still do think this gets done. Um, it kind of feels like the Ayuk deal not the Ayuk, yeah, the Brandon Ayuk deal last year, where when push came to shove, he knew where he wanted to be, and he took the deal at the kind of at the last minute. Granted, I'm gonna clarify this with the wording of it, but Rap mentioned on the McAfee show the other day that he, quote unquote, his guess was that we wanted to be at or just under 30. Now, I get he said he guesses. However, all of the reporting has been like that. And that's also by far the highest number that we've heard in those quote unquote reports,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me that it's more than just a guess, because again, like I said, that's the highest number we've heard in any of those quote unquote guesses. Which also tells me that Terry needs to come down some. We've gone way up compared to where we reportedly were. So Terry needs to meet in the middle a little bit. I still think that's going to happen eventually. But from his perspective, they're holding out as long as possible to see just how high they can get. I don't think they trade him, only because for me personally, I feel like in order to trade him at this juncture, you have to get something in return that is going to give you some type of similar production. If your goal and the moves that you have made throughout the offseason have been to compete for a Super Bowl. So for me, future draft picks don't really do anything at this point. And I can kind of feel like that's how they would feel about that situation as well. It'd be one thing if you had a legitimate replacement for him on the roster, or you drafted one early, but you didn't. So, I mean, I don't see them trading him without some type of legitimate type of replacement coming back in said trade. I think he's there week one. I don't see him surrendering game checks. just doesn't make sense at this point.
And that's a good point. I'm gonna go to Caleb, but like this is where like I'm not an agent, right? Like I never proclaim to be, but just from like what we're hearing and all this is allegedly, like all we really know is that they are disrespecting his value from what Terry said. So that tells you that the number that originally had was very low from what he believed he was value at. And a lot of times we value ourselves much higher than our whoever we're working for value us, right? That's just the business aspect of it, right? So I don't know. It's just like the agent, and we're starting to hear from national media, and you get whispers from national media about different agents, like talking about it, right? Like it's I don't know, man. It's just it's very weird, and I don't know. And look, we not used to dealing with anything like this. Like maybe maybe this is what it is, but it just feels different. Maybe because it's coming from us. Riri and Caleb, y'all still got your hands up, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first because
Okay,
Caleb talks a lot. Um, I did want to agree with Aaron and you, Deuce. Um, we're making all these moves, right? So we see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's why I think Terry really, not that his heart's not in it, but it's really just about the money, right? He wants to be here. He sees the players that are coming that want to play here, right? Because again, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's really just about the money at this point, right? And with you dudes, I really think maybe it's this whole agent thing too. Like you said, maybe he knows his worth, you know what I'm saying? But it could be the agent just, blowing up that number, right? Where at some point, he probably is going to have to come down if he does want to play here. And I know that he does, you know what I'm saying? So at some point, something's got to give. That's all. Y'all have a good day.
I have a good one, Ree.
The main concern that I always have whenever the agent comes up is like, just the pure fact that the agent is he's a hired employee. He works for Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Terry was truly like, like if him wanting to be there was the most important thing other than the money, I honestly I think it's a little bit deeper too. Like I think respect at this point has also kind of been tainted because again, like if I'm Terry, especially like with the Eastern Motor, like in my opinion, that's probably the rawest we've ever seen him and most transparent we've ever seen him. And so for him to disclose all of like those emotions and then crickets from the front office, like that probably was a slap in the face. And I love, what I'm saying? We all love Terry, man, but I just feel like it's deeper than just money at this point, you know what I'm saying? So if he's gonna stand on business, like he's probably gonna continue to stand on it and demand every bit that he's asking for.
And before Caleb goes, and even like just our own person, when something happens and we're really like emotional about it, whatever that emotion is leaning to in this situation is like, man, why they doing me like this? Like I showed them loyalty, this and that. The person that's representing you or the person's closest to you can feed off of that, right? Like, yeah, you deserve 40 million, right? You deserve 40 because you feel that way. You deserve 40 million. Don't let them do you like you deserve 40. So like that could be going on too, right? So like, yes, he is hired, but like depending on the person, because like how often we lean one way or another because someone we trust kind of pushes us that way, right? So it's like you said, like it's very weird, man. It's very weird. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I was gonna say y'all already made the points I was going to make before I cut off, but um, I think two things are going to happen. Um, he's definitely playing this year. There's no point of him sitting out games, and then um, especially, well, I'm not even going to talk about the A's thing, but it's just no point of him sitting out games, in my opinion. You're going to lose money like you just are, and it doesn't benefit you if you want the money that you want personally as a player. But two things are going to happen. They're going to guarantee this year and let it ride out this year, or they're just going to extend him. I don't. I don't think I don't really believe they'll trade him unless they get an offer that's just really good and they can't pass up on. But yes, that's what I think's going to happen, in my opinion.
Go ahead, Smoke. And go to Aaron.
Hey, real quick, I don't forget nothing this brass has said since their, opening presser. I remember the deep breath of, when they asked him about the roster. I remember AP saying, they're looking for elite sustainable success. So I'm gonna stick right there to the elite sustainable success, and that's why I say AP has to set a standard for himself. He's not gonna put this team in a bind. He's not gonna let one player, hold this team hostage and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey man, and then like, I can even dive into like I'm not even gonna go that far yet, but like just elite sustainable success. We know, what I mean, that's not a 2-year plan. That's 5, 10 years down the road. How can I, build this thing around what everyone says is the most pivotal position in all of sports, this quarterback? How can I build this thing around him so that, when we are 5 years down the road, we still got this thing rolling like we kicked the door in year one? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So that plays back into, the data. The data, like I'm gonna say this real quick, Deuce, and I know we got another hand or whatever, and then you can probably switch it. But yesterday I asked good brother Cash, he's looking for a good number 2, right? And I asked him, what is a good number 2 number looking like? He said T Higgins, and I said okay, all right. I said I'll look up T Higgins numbers. T Higgins I think had like 981 yards. I don't. You know what I mean? Fact check me on that. I think it was a little over 900 yards he had, right? I say, Cash, my number 1 had 1,096. So I just don't see the mathing with a number 1 in Terry getting 1,100 yards, your number 2 around that 900-yard mark, and then everyone else, your Zach Ertz and things of that nature. We know Zach Ertz ain't gonna continue to be on this team, possibly outside of this year. You know what I mean? He said last year, I wish I was 23 again so I could give Jaden my whole career and stuff like that. But that's where I look at things like that. Like, go back to the elite sustainable success. Now people are going to come back at me and say, hey, well, why didn't he draft a guy, earlier? Well, I go back to what he did this offseason, what he did in the draft last year. He drafted a guard / tackle that played tackle for us all last year that they're moving the guard. He made a trade for a premier left tackle. He went and drafted a right tackle and stuff like that. He wants to protect his guy. You know what I mean? And that's not the sexy part of the game. That is not the sexy part of the game when the trenches are right. You know what I mean? So that's just where I'm kind of confused at, man, that I remember everything they say. If it was about elite sustainable success and you guys were so far off, why are we here? And that's where I landed at, dude. Just why are we here?
Yeah, and I think even when you're talking about like sustainable success, right? It starts now, right? Like you build it now. You don't begin to build it 2-3 years from now, right? So you make decisions on right now because you want to be successful right now. And the fact of the matter is, having Terry on this team makes you even more successful than what you would be without him, right? So that part. And another thing that they said is he's a commander for life, right? He means this, he means that. He's the golden boy. He's this, and that. You can't say that and then give him a number like 22 million or something, right? Because not only is he feels disrespected by the number, now he's like, oh, but you told me I'm a commander for life, this, and that. So like all of that matters too, right? And then like it's very tricky to start getting into number one and number two numbers, right? Because you can't just stay there, right? You have to, once you open up context, you can't just stop, right? You have to continue with the context, right? And create a conversation about the context, right? Because I'm sure there's probably some wide receiver ones in the league that's around, 1,000 yards, right? But it's context to even to those too. Like what's around them? Like are they how many targets? Like all of that stuff matters. It's just not a hard stop on this player and that player. Like a lot of things matter. Like there's a lot of context to it. So like any time you having these conversations is that you have to, once you open up context, you have to receive all of it, right? Even if it goes against what initially your point is, you have to open it up to it. And then once you do that, you start seeing, oh man, like even when you talk about the wide receiver one, wide receiver two, I always looked at it as you're a wide receiver one if you're a wide receiver one on that team. But where are you in the NFL of tiers of wide receiver one? Because you can't tell me Terry is not a number one when I've seen him be a number one the last 8 whatever years he's been here, right? He's been a number one, right? But if you want to say he's not in the Jamar Chase tier of number ones, all right, cool. Like we had that conversation, right? Because they're different tiers of number one wide receivers. But you can't tell me he's not a number one wide receiver. If he goes to another team, then maybe he's a wide receiver two at that point. But is the team that you're on, if you are the wide receiver one, you are the wide receiver one. You might be the 32nd ranked wide receiver one in the league, but you're still wide receiver. You can't just have 15 wide receiver ones. You know what I mean? Like you have to have 32 of them because it's 32 teams. But when you do tiers of it, that's how you should break down the tiers. Because I remember we had that conversation before, Smoke, when he was like, is he a number one? Right? Like the question should more so be, what tier is he in the number one wide receivers? Like that's the actual, because he is a number one. Like we've seen him, like he's a number one, right? But it's the tiers where the conversation should stop, not that if he is a wide receiver one.
Real quick, Deuce, real quick,
Yeah.
because like something just hit my mind when you brought up that tier stuff, and so I'm looking at a guy like so like we all say we've said it in spaces that even if we sign Terry next year, first or second round, go find a guy to put beside him. We've all said that, right? So now I go to the comparison of a Mike Evans. I see what they did down there in Tampa Bay the last two drafts. Go get a McMillan. I think McMillan was drafted, I want to say second, third round, but they went at 19 and got a Buka. They went at 19, got a Buka because of health situations with a Godwin. But Mike Evans, I'm sticking with Mike Evans. Mike Evans say, just do me right. And Mike Evans is what on AAV at 25 right now. Like him and Terry are in that select few group of certain amount of seasons over 1,000 yards.
I
And
just
Mike
feel like
Evans,
with Mike though,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's certain factors that kind of aided in that. Because when now that we're in the depths of these conversations, like context definitely matters. And
yeah,
with Mike, like you got to remember, like he's coming off of Super Bowl, consistent Pro Bowl success. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's not shy of the accolades and the public and internal to his organization, like that admiration. Like like none of that is new to him. So he's, in my opinion, like I don't think it's a fair. I get the comparison. I just don't think it's a fair comparison when we talk about this situation though, because it's so completely different than his experience versus Terry.
So the reason I bring that up, right, because 25 million AAV trail is different than 30. right?
No,
So
you're right.
so like if I go out here and I draft a guy next year, first round, you know what I mean? We're hoping that pick is 32, you know what I mean, at this point. We're hoping it's the back end of the first round, you know what I mean, 29 through 32. And if I go out here and get that guy, and like I say, Terry, you know, like I say, like I
If
believe
I can
like
interrupt you one more time
yeah,
though,
go,
really
go.
quick though, because I do think like he's a great example for what you're talking about. But another piece of context is they already have young wide receiver pieces. So like Mike Evans, who's already on a team that like, I mean, this is his team. He's the wily vet. He's already been taken care of financially before. He got a Super Bowl with this squad, and he's a clear leader in that room. So I think, like, I mean, just in this situation, not only does he get to stay at home, but he's also able to be a part of the succession plan when he leaves. Like, because he's clearly going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be he's a Ring of Famer for that organization. So, he's cemented. And so, like, to me, like, if just from his perspective, I get to not only continue to lead the charge, but also, teach and bring up the next guys who are going to take over my team. And they got the McMillan, they got Godwin, they got Ibuka, and there's one more that guy, if I'm not mistaken.
As Johnson.
No, the dude from
I
Oregon.
thought
What's the name? Cousin, brother, Bo
Tez
Nix.
Johnson was on that team. That's Tez Johnson.
Yeah, Terry Johnson. So, like, I
Yeah.
mean, they have so many, like, it's so much intrigue and youth in that room. Like, if I'm the wily vet with this, like, I mean, yeah, hey, look, man, y'all take care of me, bro. I'm fine. Like, it just makes sense. But in Terry's case, like, I don't think that's a direct comparison because of so many, all the different outliers and factors that's going into it.
Can I add another piece of context to that too? The other big thing with that is Tampa didn't slow play the negotiations like we did. When that deal was signed, it was a top 10 like AAV deal. Like Jamar signed his deal after the only wide receiver making 30 a year in the league at that point was Tyreek Hill. So it was still a top 10 AAV deal at time of signing because Tampa didn't slow play the deal. And that's kind of been my biggest issue with kind of like how we've handled this. Like we shouldn't have slow played the negotiations the way we did, because now you've got DK who signed his deal. You've got Godwin who got offered $30 million on the open market, who's only a few months younger than Terry and coming off of a dislocated ankle. Things like that. Like, Terry looks at those numbers and things of that nature, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, like this, we shouldn't have slow played it like this." Especially like Deuce said, you're sitting here telling him, you're a commander for life and things like that, and then you're offering him a slight raise. If you were planning on going to 30 anyway, then start a little higher so he doesn't feel disrespected. But as far as the context goes, as of Mike's deal, like I said, when that deal was signed, it was signed before free agency. It was signed before CD signed his deal. It was signed before Justin Jefferson signed his deal. Ayuk, Jamar, like all of those guys. So, like I said, at the time, it was a fair deal for what the market was. The market exploded after the fact.
Mm-hmm. And that's the context part, and why you can't, like, when you start opening it up, it's a lot to it when you start comparing players, right? Because like Ern said, yes, this year's salary, right, but at the time of the deal, it was this, where top 10 or whatever the case may be. So the money moves, and there are a lot of players that we believe shouldn't be getting paid what they're getting paid. And the flip side, there are players that should be getting paid more than what they're getting paid. But to Ern's point, like I agree about them slow playing, but you also got to flip it, right? Because we don't know, right? So you got to be fair on both sides, because we don't know if they actually went to him to try to get a deal done, right? So
No, that's fair. They could have decided to wait.
Right. And the flip side of it, Terry got this kid that they just drafted number 2, right? That he's watching in OTAs and all that other stuff. What's to say he was like, man, this is the first time I ever had this quarterback. Like, I can do something. Like, why would I'm going to bet on myself, because that's what we said, right? Caleb Trail, like, he's always bet on himself. So now I'm going to this year. I got another year left. I'm going to see what this, because look, whatever he thought that he was worth prior to the year, right? If he had another, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdown, whatever, then he probably gonna get the same amount he thought he was gonna get before. So let me go out there and bet on myself and see if I can put up better numbers with a quarterback that can actually put the ball where I'm going, not where I'm at. Right. So to the player side, I'd be like, man, now I want to see what this kid can really do for me. And been as though he did that as far as the touchdowns, Terry is probably looking back like, I bet on myself and won, but I'm not being compensated for winning. Go ahead, Smoke.
Yeah, like I like the points about the comparison to the Mike Evans. I feel y'all on that, right? So now I'm gonna go back to when you ask percentages, and my first thing out my mouth was, them fully guaranteeing the deal, right? So now I'm trying to put myself in AP shoes and Terry shoes at the same time, which I can't do, right? So, all right, if they fully guarantee this 19.5, 19.7, right? On Terry's side, I know him and Buddy are sitting there like, hey, listen, you're going to be able to walk next year. You're going to have your pick of the litter, but he's not going to touch 30 AAV after this season, bro. He's not. So now I'm putting myself into AP side where I can fully guarantee you, and I still got the rights, unless we come to some type of secret agreement, that I won't use this franchise tag on you, which is presented right now at $28 million a year. So my thing is that if AP did move up from 28 to 30, I think Terry should really consider it. I think he should, because I don't think there's a team, because I know 405 brought up the Ian Rappaport report, like around 30, like right below 30 or at 30. But Diana Rossini reported that some of these executives that, done talk said 27 to 28. And so now, what if they did grant him the permission to seek a trade? And we don't know that. And teams are, saying, hey, we'll give up this, but this is what the contract is. So my thing is like, it's a very tricky situation for Terry, man. I think Terry really need to look himself in the mirror and say, if I was to take a fully guaranteed deal, if I was to take this 28 or 30, I may be able to touch 28 after this season, but I'm definitely not touching 30, bro. No one's going to pay a 30 to 31-year-old receiver that amount of money, man. And that's the tricky part about it, bro. So it goes back to the data. It goes back to the analytics and stuff like that, man. So I'm open. I really appreciate y'all. Like, y'all kind of debunked my, Mike Evans take, and I appreciate that, because now I'm just trying to bring it back a little full circle. Like, Terry is kind of in a tricky situation, bro. Like, do you take a fully guaranteed? Do you take this 28? Because at the end of the day, it goes to what Telly say, man. The team own the rights. They own his rights. Unless there's a secret agreement, that, hey, we're going to give you a fully guaranteed at 20 a year or 22 a year or whatever it is,
What's
then
up,
we
Marcus?
won't
How you doing,
franchise
man?
tag you. Terry got to look himself in the mirror, y'all.
See you,
So,
Hawk.
yeah, that's just
Good.
how I see it. I see hands up. My fault.
Yeah, man. So like to that point, and then we'll I don't know if it's going back to Caleb or well Glenn just got up here, so we'll let Glenn go next. And Glenn, you could piggyback. Like, how much is emotion worth? How much is the off field? How much is all he's been through and this? Because I think that's a number. I think it's fair to talk about that number, even though, and the tricky thing about that number is if Terry's looking at 5 million and Adam is like, well, nah, we give you 1 million for emotion. I'm just kind of making it up, but y'all know what I'm saying. He
Nah, I
like,
feel you.
well, I've been here and I've been, yeah, but we gave you the best situation you've ever been in. We gave you that. So why should we be punished for what somebody else did when we gave you the best you've ever had?
Good morning, y'all.
I shouldn't be punished for the crimes of your ex-boyfriend.
Good morning, y'all. I don't
There it is.
I don't like how a lot of us are so adamant about what he should get and what he's worth, like it's our money. And Jaden's on a rookie contract. Like if you're gonna ever pay Terry, this is the time to do it. So I see other teams do like CJ, they went and spent the bag for CJ. Other teams will go get weapons for when they see that their dude is the one, then they go out there and they surround him with everything to make it possible. And to me, Adam is like really shopping real cheap, bringing in old guys, 1 year deals. I know we trying to develop this team and rebuild the team, but like, which direction are we really headed? I'm still confused. I don't know why Terry's not paid yet. I don't feel like $2 or $3 million should be a deal breaker if that's the case. That's ludicrous to me because we're not paying Jaden shit right now. So I don't know. Me personally, we've been talking about this ad nauseum. I think Terry should be like F it and go bet on himself. We determined that yesterday. If at this point, don't even talk about it no more. You know what? I'm suiting up, coming to play. I'll see you at the end of the season and just do it like Jamar did. As far as what he's worth, I can't put a number on what he's worth. He sat here for 5 seasons with 2 terrible coaches, no wide receiver room to help him out for real, other than Curtis Samuel, and no quarterback to really throw him the rock, other than when we had Case Keenum here his rookie season. He's gone through garbage for 5 years. I don't know what emotion is worth, Deuce. Is it worth 2, 3, 4, 5 million? I think emotion is definitely worth 2 or 3 million. And if they're only apart 2 or 3 million, man, sign Terry and let's go. Stop playing with me.
And that's
Because right now they just being stubborn to be stubborn, both sides.
yeah, and like somebody needs to. Oh, from what we know, like we don't know, right? Like Ern was saying, we heard we were at 23 at one point, and recently it was like 20, like under 30 or something. So like I don't know. It seems like you hear more of we've come up than you hear of him coming down, right? And these are, I mean, nothing is confirmed. Like we don't know for a fact, but just from the tea leaves, right? It's saying that the AP in them is showing like humility, and they're trying to sneak up and coming up and coming up and coming up. But I don't know. And just as a reminder, everyone that grabbed from Mike, you are consenting to being on YouTube because we're also on YouTube right now. We're gonna run for about another like 5-10 minutes.
Real quick before this point gets lost, because you hit on it, Glenn hit on it, Smoke hit on it, but and Aaron, but the guaranteed money, like for this season, like one thing we also know as a fact is like he's currently on contract with no guarantee left, and the team, from my understanding, can guarantee the remainder without him signing anything. So for them not doing that, like to me, that's telling as well, because that's telling as well, in my opinion, is too, like what are they doing there? You know what I mean? Like I in my honest opinion, behind the scenes, I do think they're allowing Buddy and Terry to talk to other teams to figure out, the gauge what this value is.
I just think that's hard to keep on the wraps. Like once you start that, especially with someone high caliber like Terry, once you start giving team, because now you're relying on the other teams to keep secrets, and that's where it gets that's where, like, I mean, if it is like, I wouldn't be surprised, but once you like the more people know about a secret, the more likely it's going to get out.
Yep.
Because my thing is timing. If if you're very adamant on your number, if both sides are very adamant on a number, like timing isn't going to solve that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah. Let me get to let's go CeeLo, Henry, then Champ. I know y'all just got up here for the first time.
I appreciate it. Good morning. I was just gonna say, you asked a question about how much is emotion worth and the past worth. Think about it in your personal lives, right? When you guys are working, do you go and try to get a raise based on your past year's performance, or do you try to get paid for your future performance from your employee's perspective, right? You as an employee, you work hard, you do all the things you're supposed to do above and beyond what you felt like you were worth. So you said, "Hey, I've been balling out. What do you think?" And your employee is like, "Well, let's see how things
That's a
go
good
forward.
point,
Let me see
bag.
how
That's a
much you're
good
worth
point, bad guy.
and whatever you're going to do going forward, and
That's
try
a
to figure
good
out a way
point.
to
I'm gonna bring it
the
up.
scope, figure out a scope of work for you to work towards." So point being is, I think a lot of us personally feel like a lot of our past activities should contribute to our pay. And so that may be where you're talking about, Deuce, as far as what is the percentage, what is that worth? And I think, Terry probably puts a lot higher premium on that than AP does. So that's number one. Number two, someone said, I think Smoke said he would never touch $30 million. I 100% disagree. The cap is probably going to go over $310 million this year. This $30 million number everyone's stuck to will be chump change another year. So he can absolutely get $30 million. No, it'd be a deal. It'd be nothing. And so I don't think we can be, to Glenn's point, so resolute on what numbers make sense for Terry as he gets older. These numbers explode in the way that the NFL is growing so quickly in terms of the TV deals and stuff like that. It's no way we can really know who's going to get paid what in 2020, 2026, just like Christian Kirk got paid, we never expected to. So just putting that out there.
And just to piggyback real quick, because I know there's hands deuce. We saw this with Kirk, CeeLo. We had an opportunity to pay Kirk $20 million. We thought it was too much, and then it exploded a couple of years later. We ended up franchising him for well worth more than that, and he went out and got fully guaranteed almost $30 million. So us being chintzy right now at this point in time, I think it's kind of silly because, like you said, CeeLo, the money's gonna get bigger anyway.
Deuce, I want to respond to that because
Go ahead.
that's a different position, quarterback comparing to a receiver, and the age is different too. So like the reporters already and I know we've said this multiple times, and I know everybody, some people agree, some people disagree. Credible reporters already said no team wants to pay him over 30 million, like not even 35. So and then you looking
I
at the
find that
other,
hard to believe when they just paid DK 4 million.
it's the age, Glenn. It's the age. It's the age. That's what
I
it
don't
Still
think it's
find
just
is.
the
it hard to
age. I
believe
don't. I
with the
don't. I
money
don't,
getting
I don't think
bigger.
it's. I
Okay.
don't think it's just the age, though. I think we haven't talked about this much. Maybe we have, but I mean, it's the analytics. It's the progression of where he is, even as a young wide receiver. I feel like this
I
wouldn't be
agree.
as simple as we think it is. I think he doesn't hit some of the marks that other wide receivers hit that
I
you would
agree.
like
I
to
agree to
see,
that. I agree to that.
even with the age factor. But sorry.
All right, let's
Now
go to
go
Champ.
ahead.
I mean, yeah, Champ. Go ahead, Champ. Then Henry.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good
What's up,
morning.
man?
I just got in. I've been listening to y'all for about the past 15 minutes. The only thing I kind of disagree, and I do agree with CeeLo what he said. If Terry bets on himself again this year and he gets double-digit touchdowns and he can put up the same stats he had last year, you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay him because that's him betting on himself, and that's telling that what he's capable of doing. Like he got a good quarterback, he's going to ball out. Now the Mike Evans comparison, I don't personally think that's a good comparison. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the money that the Bucks just gave him, that's because he was going into his fourth contract with the Bucks. He's what, 32 years old, so that seems more fitting for him to compare the Terry contract to him. I don't think the timeline matches for both of them. It just don't match to me. So you got these old veteran guys. Like I said, there was at a point where Mike Evans was considered the highest paid receiver at a point of time. And then, like you said, as long as that cap going up, the man is in all positions, the price goes up. That's just for running back, offensive lineman, it don't matter. As long as that cap up, those guys and those agents are going to get whatever dollar they can get from these billionaires. And vice versa, the billionaires are milking off of them as well. But I just don't think the timeline for Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin to compare those type of contracts, I don't think it matches up. Because Terry is going to his, 7 year, and Mike is going to his 11th or 12th. So those age gap in years is different. That's a different timeline to me. I just don't think that's a good comparison. I think my comparison with Terry is Garrett Wilson's contract. He's right there at 30. Give him 60, 65 guaranteed for 2 full years and call it a day. Like, that's the way I personally feel. Thanks.
But I think, Chant, like when you bring in when you use the age and the Mike Evans situation to debunk that, how do you feel about using the age with the Garrett Wilson contract?
The Jets are smart. They paying their guy. He's the best offensive weapon they got and consistent offensive weapon they got. So they jumped on it immediately. I just think that fits right in that range because what Garrett Wilson is a dog like Terry. Like this guy's playing with below class quarterbacks and still putting up over 1,000 yards. You know, he had Zach Wilson throwing him a ball, Mike White throwing him the ball. Like, these are dudes are complete third string or second string quarterbacks. So that's the reason why I'm comparing it to that. The age limit is different because Garrett is been third year in the league. So the Jets were smart. They hopped on it. They realized what they have, what they got, and he's a building piece. That's the way to answer your question. That's the way I look at it. I just like the time, the age. This is just the time to me of the contracts. Terry is entering his third, and then Garrett just got his second contract outside of his rookie deal. So it's like, I don't know. The timelines just don't line up, and the money is going to be different. It's going to be another kid that another receiver is going to make a lot more money than Justin Jefferson is probably next year due to the cap going up. And the dude probably don't have a resume that matches Justin Jefferson's or any of the top elite receivers. It's just how the cap keeps going up.
Got you. Go ahead, C. Henry. C. Henry, you there?
I think he dropped.
Okay. Bad Guy on YouTube mentioned a good point when we was talking about like everything that he's gone through and all this other stuff. How do you all feel about that last contract paying for that?
Oh, yes. Yeah. He basically saying the last contract we gave him was made for him to basically compensate him of what he's been through. Is that kind of what he's saying, dude?
Yeah. And I know that was 3 years ago. I mean,
so I can understand that point, but I think Terry and his agent were smart about this. I think they did do 3 years because they knew how the market was going to probably shape up in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that when he signed Caleb. Remember, we were saying how some receivers were getting 4-year contracts and Terry just getting a short one because of his age. We knew we were going to have to face this a couple of years ago. But we didn't think it was going to be a problem like this.
Yeah, and I think the success that we had and his touchdown, especially his red zone production for us, because most of his touchdowns came in the red zone. It just added another layer of problems for us. I mean, I like going into this offseason, I felt like me personally, I probably never shared this in spaces, but we had difficult decisions coming up because you got a lot of guys on 1-year deals. Then you got the draft picks, some people have a problem with the amount of draft picks we had. Then you gotta, extend Terry and whatnot. Things like that, man. But I think my thing is AP could have done this sooner, but maybe last year, but who's to say Terry would have wanted to do negotiations as well? Because he, like I said, bro, I think him and his agent knew, bro. I think him and his agent knew
it was smart to take a 3-year deal. So I don't know how many years Terry wants now, but you know, we just gotta move, man. Like I said, bro, I agree with Champ. 30 million a year. I give you 2 years. Fully guarantee those 2 years, bro. And let's win some damn games, man. That's my opinion.
And I also say this, and we're going to wrap it up. So, if you all have any last comments you want to make, we'll be back tomorrow. And I think 7 might be better, CeeLo, because 6:30, like I was still trying to get myself together. So we might do 6:37 in between that time. We'll try to work it out, figure it out. But like, regardless of like what side are we on, because I think if you're pro Terry, you're pro Adam Peters, I think both sides have great points, and I think both sides, I don't think no one is like wrong, right? Like you would hear like Glenn say, like, look, man, just pay him the 30 million. And then you'll hear somebody like Smoke say, well, I want a GM that sticks to a number because this is how he is going to be. Like, this is what you want. You don't want a GM that moves off his number based on emotion and fan and media perception, right? I think both sides are right. You know what I'm saying? Like, both sides are right. But like, this is where we are. So it's fair to say to you, like, use both sides. Like Caleb said, like, I think AP should have reached out last year. But you also got to say, well, maybe AP did reach out and Terry was like, nah, this kid right here could be the best quarterback I've ever played with. He could get me much better numbers than what I can get right now, right? Maybe that happened. Like, we don't know either way. But the point is we can't be definitive one way or another, like this happened and this didn't happen, when we don't know. And I think that'll help like conversations moving forward, is to look at both sides. Like, you know what? That's a great point, right? Like, I still feel how I feel. Like, I'm like, look, pay him 30 million, right? And the flip side is, you know, you want a GM that's hard pressed in a sense and not being moved. So this was Henry says Twitter is not working. He says so. He think folks think he's a free agent. AP may want to see another year of production. Was last year's mirage. Nothing changed but touchdowns. With the Debo Senate, can he do it again? Scans all day say 30 at the minimum. Was Buddy his agent for the last deal? Yes, he was. Buddy has been with him since he came out of college. He's from Indianapolis too, so I don't know. They might got some connection there too. But yeah, man. Any last thoughts from anybody?
Yeah, I was going to say, quick question. I mean, quick deuce on this. AP, this is the problem. I have like I said, the small dilemma with AP is, I'm like, dog, for you to have this plan and stand on business, he doesn't have a plan B. So if they, like I said, let's hypothetically say stands on business, like, oh, if y'all not gonna pay me, I got enough money I made already. I'm gonna eat this contract. I'll see y'all in week 8 or week 9. So if he's staying on business and we go out there and the other receivers are looking flaky, which they already are to me, it's gonna reflect back on AP. They be like, you didn't want to, you standing on business, but you have no plan B. You didn't bring in another solidified receiver to support your rookie quarterback. You didn't. You just brought in, like what you call say earlier, Mr. Glenn. He brought in a whole bunch of just random old guys, or guys who just, they really heart is not into it anymore, or they washed up. So I don't know, but I'm like, if you're gonna pursue and go in this direction, AP, what is your backup plan? Are you going to wait till next year's draft? This year's draft is starting to look a little odd too, because we all wanted him. We thought they was going to draft a receiver, or at the end they grabbed Connolly, which was understandable. But now it's looking like, okay, if Terry doesn't play, what's your plan B?
Hey,
That's
Champ.
So like, even
Like,
to that point, trying to remember, like, look at it from both sides too, right? What if Jalen Lane hits and he's at like 400, 500, 600 yards by week 8? Now Terry's looking like, now AP looking like a genius.
That's true. I did look at it from that
that's kind
perspective.
of the route. That's kind of the route I was going. Like,
I did look at that
like,
perspective.
we view things like, just how we view it. We're fans, you know what I mean? But the reality is, like, we don't know if Jalen Lane is truly Terry's replacement. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that we don't know, and AP could be looking at it like that.
He could
I'm
be
gonna say this
wrong.
real quick.
He could be wrong from your point, champ. But
No, yeah, I just didn't look at that perspective.
Howard, just
Yeah.
like Terrence Howard said, and get rich or try. Even though I'm wrong, I'm still right.
Still right.
Go ahead, Smokey.
Yeah, to like the point Champ made, right? Like we haven't seen, like I'm not gonna say I don't like we talking like it's a definitive because we haven't seen them guys with the first team offense as far as like even Monday night we got down the field so fast. DQ was like, y'all sit down. Y'all sit down. We didn't get the chance to see, you know, a Jalen Lane trot out there. Like I'm telling you, that first series, Debo run. It was Luke McCaffrey outside, Debo in the slot, 2 tight end set to the right. You know what I mean? 19-yard run. Come back, boom, Chris Rodriguez, 40-yard run. Very next play, 1 to 2 yard run by Chris Rodriguez. Touchdown, Jaden Daniels, right? So we haven't. So my thing is, I understand some of these reporters. I'm not going to name them. Some of these reporters have told us that, hey, it looked like they can't get, you know, certain separation just in practice or whatever. But we got to remember, these practices are kind of simulated. Some days it's going to be heavy zone. Some days it's going to be heavy man, stuff like that. Can you find that void in that man? Can you get separation? But it's a certain reporter, not naming, that told me Chris Paul is a great stationary blocker and not a move blocker. Chris Paul moved on that JCM run from left to right, cleared a void, and JCM down the sideline. So it's like, do we really trust the eyes of these reporters of what they're really relaying out there day in and day out? You know what I mean? Because like I said, I can use that Chris Paul for an example. DQ spoke on Chris Paul yesterday. How much better he's gotten from last year to this year with his move blocking and stuff like that. So my thing is, man, until we see these guys with 5, and we got to think 5 dictates coverage. That 17 does, but 5 do as well because it's extra eyes on 5. You know what I mean? So now what does that do for Jalen Lane? What does that do for Debo? What does that do for Ertz? What does that do for, you know what I mean? We really haven't even, like we saw JCM out the backfield, you know what I mean? But we didn't even see Eckler Monday night. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the plan from me watching Eckler warm up was for him to touch that field on that drive. But we went down there 4 plays, and he was like, you know what, y'all sit down. So that's why I say, man, I'm holding off on what's in that room right now, bro. Like I really am until I see him with 5.
All right, man.
That's the regular season. My fault.
No, you all good. Champ, did you wanted to go back, Champ? See your hand up. Or was that an old hand?
Oh no,
you about to
he's good. I agree with everything he just said. That makes sense. We all don't know. We're just fans, so I agree with everything he said. I'm good.
I know you about to close, Deuce. Look, I made a statement yesterday that if we end up somehow not getting Terry back in here, I think we'll be fine. And I got a lot of pushback. So listening to you, Smokey, I'm standing on that. I know it won't look the same without Terry, but I have faith in DQ, Cliff, and AP. And I think that they, with Cliff especially, bro, I think he'll scheme these new dudes open and do whatever he has to do. I think we'll be fine.
And just go back, because I know you, like before I got a phone call, you had mentioned the Kirk Cousins, and Caleb said before I got off, it's a different position, right? But we didn't know Terry in 2019 when we drafted him. We questioned Jay Gruden of why are you holding this guy out, things of that nature in these preseason games and stuff like that. At that time, we paid what Paul Richardson on AAV at $10 million or a little more than that. And he was supposed to be our number 1. You know what I mean? But Terry came in and took that thing by storm. So we don't know who Jalen Lane is right now. We saw some good things from Jalen Lane Monday night, and that was with Josh Johnson, not 5, and that's where I landed at. But I appreciate you, Deuce.
Yeah,
Yep.
good
So
space.
I just like when we having these conversations and like it's a lot of emotion in these let's just be fair. you just try to look at it from both sides. Like when you make something definitive on one side, do the same on the other side and see, oh, you know what? That's true. It could go, because we don't know. Like we don't know, right? Out of nowhere, Debo Samuel, you could end up being like, whoa, wait a minute, who's this guy? You know, so like we don't know. Like we as fans, we're hoping either way. We just want to win, right?
Hey, Deuce, I
Like,
never got your opinion on this, but I posed the question yesterday about Terry and his memorable moments versus memorable games and the impact that because we were talking about analytics and stuff, but the impact that may have on decision making.
Hey, Deuce, before you close, right?
I'm closing on that. I'm not giving you that, Trail. Yeah,
Hey,
you're not
listen,
getting that yet.
hey, Trail know where I'm going at with this because I said it yesterday, and I'm gonna leave this number right there. We don't know anything, bro, and I'm gonna leave it at 32.96. I land. I appreciate y'all this
This
morning,
dude
man.
Smokey, bro. Smokey all over the place.
What's up with the 96? The other day,
32,
Deuce, you said to
96,
pay.
man.
Yesterday, he
32.96.
said pay him $32 million
Smokey don't know
and
what he
98
was.
cents.
Hey,
Like, where did
Trail.
98 cents come from,
Don't.
Smokey?
32.96 is the NFL team rushing record.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just
In a
in
season.
2019, the Baltimore Ravens, they didn't have a Derrick Henry at that time. They didn't have a high caliber receivers at that time, but they went out there 32.96 on the ground. We don't know. I just saw this offense. Hey, man, it was
I agree,
7 carries
Skins
for 115
all
at the
day.
end of the
I
first
agree with
quarter.
that point.
We don't know. And I like.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Like I can get rid of y'all on YouTube very easily. It seems like it's a little more difficult. I got to work on getting rid of y'all on the Spaces part. But in the Jumbotron, the first slide, if you're not subscribed to the channel, we absolutely hope you do. You can go back and listen to this here on YouTube, because I am going to delete this recording because I want you to go to YouTube. Shameless plug. Also, the All One show from last night, that's still the space was recorded. That's still available. The recap space wasn't, because there was a lot of stuff said in there that you don't want to be recording, a lot of stuff that we learned. But that's also the Riddle Media channel, where we have like all NFL and different shows on that channel, along with All Ones and all that. So it's different content on that channel. You can subscribe to that channel as well. And this is it. Like, we'll be here tomorrow morning between 6:30 and 7. We're still working on that time to try to get that straight. I think we finally have the media and all that working right. I think we got it pretty good. Outside of that, appreciate your time. I know your time is very valuable. For you to spend it with us, we absolutely appreciate it. Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.